We'll get going with Jason Bell from the Winnipeg Free Press. Go ahead, Jason.
Well, just the business side of things, will there be any line changes at all for your roster tonight for Game 4?
Yeah, we'll have to see some guys come to the rink and get through warm-up before we set the lineup.
We'll go back to Jason Bell. Go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate that, Gregor. Paul, how's the highs and the extreme highs and extreme lows of your business? I mean, we all have them in our jobs and in our lives, but your group is under such a microscope. It's a different animal. I appreciate that. But how do you think they've done a good enough job of sort of handling those highs and lows over the course of the last month?
Yeah, outstanding actually, because it's all how you come out of it, right? The handling the highs and lows doesn't mean you don't feel it. It's how you come out of it. So I think we did a real good job with it during the year, had a real tough stretch of hockey and came out of it much, much better. And I would just suggest that Edmonton series was so much closer than you think. And for me, so is this one. That the highs and lows are probably not nearly as evident in our room as they are everywhere else, right? The emotions of it, and that's a function part of, playing two Canadian teams. You get that, right? It's built into what we do here. So I think they've handled it very, very well.
Go next to Ken Weeb from Sportsnet. Go ahead, Weaver.
Thanks, Gregor. Paul, what are some of the things your team can do to lead to cleaner exits? Yeah,
that's really important. So most of what you're talking about on our exits, the clean exits, aren't clean plays. Where the turnovers have happened, or us been inability to maybe get the puck to the neutral zone, has been almost off scrum, small plays where we're either not moving our feet or we're not heading to open ice before we make the decision, a little stationary. So moving your feet is the first thing, and then a little more communication on the ice, because we do have options and open outs that sometimes we're not seeing. Maybe I think at times we're looking for the secondary pass. The first option's clean and we can make it and go. I mean, we're not going end to end on that pass, but I think you see that also in games where you're behind, that the first clean option isn't taken. They're looking for something more, something that can break the game open, create to an instant chance. And their team's built not to do that. The interesting part about it is zone exits and zone entries are very, very close in this series and in our Edmonton series. It doesn't feel like that to you, but the numbers suggest otherwise.
We'll go back to Ken Weeb for a follow-up.
You leaned on that one brain concept a lot in the round one, Paul. Yep. Has that been lacking a bit in this round, or?
No, I don't think so. I think game one, we turned an awful lot of pucks on entries in game one, and I haven't felt that since then.
We'll go to Ted Lyman from the Winnipeg Sun. Go ahead, Ted.
Paul, just a little bit off topic given where we are in the series, but I just wondered if you have a thought on Cole Perfetti's season and the experience that he's gained.
Yeah, you know what? I haven't been around him enough to say it. It's great to win a world championship. I mean, that's been you go back 16 months for that young man. He couldn't have predicted what he would end up doing. We liked the way he developed in the American Hockey League. That was good for him. I think he learned a lot. He got stronger as it went on and gets an opportunity to play with some pretty darn good players at the World Championship and win a medal. That's great for him.
We'll go back to Ted Wyman. Go ahead, Ted.
And I'm sure you didn't get any chance to see any of those games, but for Canada to go there and win at the World Championship has to be pretty impressive for everyone in this country, no?
I think especially the way it started, right? So you're not talking about your normal World Championships. Maybe the overall quality of player wasn't there, but the competition level was certainly there. And to have the start that they had and then fight their way through and their way back in and beat a couple of really good teams when it mattered, it was great.
We'll go next to Kelly Moore from 680 CJOB. Go ahead, Kelly.
Thank you, Gregor. Good morning, Paul, or good afternoon, I guess, there. You have mentioned that the video shows a different story sometimes from what we see externally, but I had Montreal's forwards with 29 of their 33 shots last night. Are they getting too many opportunities in tight to your net and into your defense have to ride that balance of being maybe a little more ornery and a little meaner without taking a trip to the penalty box?
Yeah, so there's the story, Kelly. I mean, we see the exact same game. The numbers are the same. This story isn't a rush game. I mean, their game one, it was a different beast, but the The Oilers series is a rush series, and this series is blue paint, and they've gotten to ours, and we haven't gotten to theirs. That's an absolute fact.
I'll go next to Sean Reynolds from Sportsnet. Go ahead, Sean.
Hey, Paul, the shakeup you made on the lines last night, are there specific players you are trying to get going with those moves, or is it just simply shaking things up?
No, I don't think rarely do you ever just shake things up. There's a thought to it. Some of it's the opponent, the matchup they're running at home. But we've gone rolling into about 5 periods of hockey here without one of those, our more offensive line scoring the goals. So we are looking for a different look. Nicky Ehlers really likes playing the right side, with the exception of against certain teams, certain styles. So there's a lot more to this. So you try to put your best players in a position either with the people they're with, but it also matters who they play against. And so you're just changing the match a little bit.
Next to Murad Atesh from The Athletic. Go ahead, Murad.
Thanks, Gregor. Hi, Paul. Just following up on the entries and exits thought, because honestly, you're right. It does feel different than the numbers that you say. I'm wondering, do you also have numbers on the number of guys that you have at the line as you attack, like whether it's a 3-on-3, a 2-on-3, and if that's as equal between the two teams?
So yes is the answer to the question. I'm just going to try to direct you to where you watch. Our entries and our entries with a play after, our entries are slightly down, and you would think that they'd be way down, but we actually put the puck deep quite often against Edmonton. But this team, the way the Montreal Canadiens plays, you'll see 5 of their guys at the line, right? They really, their primary thing is their ability to hold their blue line. So our numbers are down a little bit on that. Again, very, very small sample size. And I think game 1 has skewed that. We turned an awful lot of pucks there. So it's come off that. So they'll stretch slightly more, and sometimes they'll attack our line with a fewer numbers. But when we go that way, you're going to see 5 almost every time.
Go next to Guillaume Lefrancois from La Presse. Go ahead, Guillaume.
Good morning, Paul. In a situation like this, how do you approach your group? Like, or do you try to sort of lighten the mood, or do you leave it up to the players themselves to do that? How do you handle the group?
I want to cover all things. No, that's not the right way to phrase it. I want to touch all kind of pieces to this. So we will do video today, not just about, hey, we got to get back to our game. We're looking to get better. We're looking to get better here tonight. So we want to do the work to show the players, to get their minds engaged on the hockey. And then you do want to touch on the emotion. And in some ways, you want a certain freedom in your game where you don't want to be on the ice afraid to make a mistake that ends the game for you, that ends the season. You want to be on the ice with puck on your stick, thinking you can be the guy that keeps this going. At the end of the day, Winnipeg Jets and the Montreal Canadiens both have to win a game to move on. For us, it's just moving on to the next game. It's for them, it's moving on to the next series. But both teams have to win a game tonight to move on.
Final question to Sean Reynolds from Sportsnet. Coach Sean.
Hey, Paul, I couch this by saying I know it's not easy to get to the front of the net in the NHL, but you said getting to the blue paint, they've done it. You guys haven't. That's the difference in this series. I don't know if this is just too simplistic. Why aren't you getting there? Right?
No, it's a piece, right? So when I say it's the difference, it's an important piece. I mean, we give up 2 shorthanded goals. That's a piece as well. There are other parts to this game, but I think the area that they've done a better job with it, that's most extreme, and some of this is analytic numbers, and we understand that, is that they've done a good job of it. Style of play, it's they got 4 big men back there that make it difficult to get net front, and then you can get to the net front, but the puck's got to get there too. So there's a couple things that we're trying to move around a little bit, get a little better at it. It's not just a matter of will. There's more to it than that, but we're going to try to be better at it tonight.
Thanks very much, Coach.
Okay, guys.